Welcome back to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad. My name is Chris Finn, and I'm your host here today. And I'm excited because we just had a great U.S. Open.
I'm excited.
And I have my boy, Mr. Bobby Prengle here, the one, the only, the biggest research nut in all of the land.
Bryson superfan.
Bryson superfan. I think you're wearing your Bryson shirt today.
I am. He popped this shirt a few years ago, and I think I bought it as soon as I saw it on the telecast. It's great.
So if you guys haven't heard any of the episodes that I've done with Bobby, he's our director of research here at P4S Golf, physical therapist, strength and conditioning. I don't know. He's got all these titles. Super smart dude, and a massive Bryson fan. And for those of you who maybe have listened to other Bobby episodes, you know that he doesn't love doing podcasts. He hates anything and everything media. Yet, yesterday, he texted me and said, "Hey, I want to do a podcast based on the U.S. Open and Bryson," at which point I fell out of my chair and quickly made time to do this today. So, I mean, the floor is yours, brother. What are we talking about?
Look, I just got really excited watching it. I mean, Pinehurst is obviously an awesome course. It's an insane challenge. And I thought there was a lot of things you can take away from the tournament that I wanted people to learn about, to understand. Mm-hmm. The correct way, right? Not the wrong way that I've heard on some other recap podcasts I've listened to. And what they can help.
Everybody doesn't know what they're talking about.
No.
What?
And like, what can you, as just your everyday golfer who wants to get better, take away from what happened this weekend?
Okay.
So that's kind of what I wanted to go over. It was really fun to watch. I'm a big Bryson fan because I think
you're literally wearing a shirt.
He makes the game.
I heard they only sold 3 of them, and he has the other 2.
I've seen a couple, in the wild, but yeah, he makes the game fun. He makes the game exciting. It's an entertaining brand of golf, mm-hmm. but obviously it gets results too. Mm-hmm. So I want people to take the right things away from what happened this weekend and not the wrong things.
Yeah. Let's dive into it. So I definitely took away practice your 3-foot putts, and you got to make 500 in a row, not 496.
Yes, 496 is not enough to make it really count.
It really, I mean, I have to imagine if you told Rory, "Hey, dude, you're going to miss 2 out of your next 500 3-foot putts," I feel like he'd be like, okay.
Sure.
But then if you tell him, "Hey, they're going to be numbers 496 and 497, and it's going to cost you the U.S. Open," he'd be like, "Yeah, right. No way."
Right. He probably would not have taken that bet. He would have said, "I wouldn't make those every day."
Yeah, 100%. But anyway, I digress. Let's go. Let's get dive into what you want to talk about.
So I think the first thing I want everyone to realize is like what Bryson, and let's be honest, what Rory did as well is not easy, mm-hmm. right? Both of those guys, they were number 1 and number 2 in driving distance for the week. I think Bryson ended up at like 337.9 mm-hmm. and Rory was like 335, right? Those are insane numbers. And I think there's a lot of bad discourse around, the equipment these days makes it so easy. And, the ball makes it so easy to hit it so far. No, it's not easy to hit a ball 185 to 195 miles an hour and keep it on planet Earth.
In 95-degree weather.
Yeah.
4 days in a row.
4 days in a row.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus practice rounds part of that.
Right. With massive pressure on every single shot. Those fairways, I mean, sure. In theory, they're 40 yards wide, but you've played that course before.
There were definitely some weird angles based on where they put the tees for them for the Open. Yeah. I mean, if you an inch off, you're in the native area. So. Exactly.
If you're, on the left half of the fairway with a draw curve, the ball's going into the native area. It's not sticking.
It was pretty dry.
Yeah. So just the fact that these 2 guys were able to lead the field in driving distance, they were actually able to put their physical skills on display in a high pressure situation, really, really narrow course. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a really big point to say that the guys who hit that driver the best were the ones who were leading and ultimately won the tournament. Yeah. Right. I think another point is like, you look at Bryson hitting those high ball speeds, right? You look at Rory hitting the high ball speeds. I know for a fact that a guy like Tony Finau can hit those ball speeds. There's videos of him reaching like close to 200 ball speed when he's, playing around on a driving range.
Right.
But what's Tony hitting when it's competition time? Mm-hmm. 175, 178, maybe cranks it up to 180, right? The fact that Bryson can take his speed into a tournament situation I don't want people to think that this is something that's easy. He is literally the only person in the world that can do that. So give him a little bit of credit for the ability to do that for, again, 4 days in a row. It's hot, high pressure situations. Sure, what he hit like 45% of his fairways.
Mm-hmm.
Don't discredit that amazing skill.
And most of them were missed on Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, you mentioned Tony and the ability to go, essentially 20 miles an hour faster.
Right.
Does Bryson and Rory have that same capability?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we know Bobby Peterson really well. He's been on this show. He works with us really closely. We love talking with him. He helped Bryson a long way towards gaining this speed. Yeah. Bryson's put over 210 ball speed in long drive competition. Right. Yeah, it's in there. Yeah. Right. He can crank it up even a few more notches than what he does on tournament time. So it's even crazier to think like he's 20 miles an hour faster than everybody else. And he still has 10 to 15 in the tank that he's not, trying to kill fans in the grandstands. Right. So I've just heard a lot where it's like, oh, the equipment just is the big difference. No, it's not. This is a skill that you really have to work on. And I even joke, like you've seen me hit in the simulators, right? 190 ball speed is not easy to control.
I mean, you keep it in the simulator most of the time.
Because we have 12-foot long enclosures. Right? So, yeah, those two guys.
That's true. We did what was it, it was three-wood ball speed contest the other day. And literally Bobby's balls were like, they almost weren't even hitting the screen. They were going so sideways. They were going fast, though.
They were going fast, right? They were getting 174, 175. So, yeah. I think just the big point I wanted to make was like, this is an extreme skill, and it was really fun to see probably the two best tournament drivers of the golf ball in the world show that skill for 4 straight days.
Can't argue with you, man.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch.
It was. All right. So second point, right? So Rory was second in driving distance, right? Bryson was first in driving distance. What's crazier then is neither of those guys were top 20 in fairways hit. And yet they were both kind of top 15 in terms of greens and regulation, right? So my point here is that there's also a bad discourse around, well, just being wild off the tee is not helpful. Why would I want to get fast if I'm just wild off the tee? Mm-hmm. The point is, and if you watch Bryson's, especially Sunday round, how many times was he in trouble? Pretty much every hole
off the tee, yeah.
Right? But his speed helped him never be in a position where he couldn't reach the green on his next shot, right? Even on 18, where he pretty much had to punch sideways, right? He knew he could get a comfortable wedge at least on the green. He probably didn't expect it to go to 4 feet.
Well, it bounced. Yeah, well, his drive, didn't it bounce off somebody and he got a worse lie?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if it didn't hit that person, it probably goes up to the stands, and then he gets a line of sight relief, and he's okay.
Yeah. So the fact that he has that speed helped him in every aspect of the game, right?
Well, I think, but it's not. He didn't just use it like blindly,
right?
Like, he used it. If you look at the lines he was taking, and like they were intentional lines that he was taking based on. He knew how fast he could swing the club. He knew how fast the ball speed was going to be. He knew what it would carry.
Right.
He took in a acceptable amount of risk for him.
Exactly. Yeah. And he also had that in his back pocket that, hey, if I'm in a position where I have to hit sideways or punch out, I can reach pretty much every hole. I mean, the guy can hit his 8-iron, whatever loft that might be, right? He can still hit it over 200 yards. Yeah. So there was almost no hole in that course that he was not in a position to go at the green, right? So I think that's another aspect of speed that people don't put enough importance on is, hey, even if I'm a little off, I can still get to the green in my next shot because I have a lot of clubs that can get the job done, right? If I'm sitting there and my 3-wood is my only club that can go 200 yards, you're kind of toast on a lot of holes, especially if you're out of position. Yeah, right? You're looking at...
You're not hitting 3-wood from 210 buried in the rough.
No, right? The fact that both of those guys too, with their speed and their distance, can hit a lot of clubs 200 plus yards. That gives them a massive advantage, especially on those really firm, really fast turtleback greens where you need as much height and spin on that shot as you possibly can get.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So again, yes, you can go, oh, does the distance versus accuracy trade-off make sense? Well, you got to realize that speed carries over into every aspect of your game and gives you massive benefits on those approach shots as well.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, point 3. You ready?
I'm excited for this one. Yeah.
This is all about the fitness side of things.
Ooh, I didn't see that one coming.
You didn't see this one coming. If you
They didn't tell me what his points were. He asked if I wanted to know, and I said no. Let's just have a conversation and record it. So,
right.
All right, I didn't see. I thought you were going to go something with short game or something.
No.
All right. Okay, I love it. It's a fitness podcast. Let's talk about fitness. Let's do it.
Right. Look at Rory back in the day versus today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy's pretty jacked.
Yeah.
He's completely transformed his body. It's Bryson, same thing, right? Okay, did he need to bulk up to whatever massive weight he got to?
A little excessive,
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, he looks like an athlete,
yeah.
Right? And you look at Rory, you look at the workouts that both of those guys do,
mm-hmm.
right? They take fantastic care of their bodies. Mm-hmm. They might have little different ways to go about it, right? Bryson's really big into the machines because he apparently works out for 3-4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Rory, has kids, family that he's also trying to spend time with. He's doing more of your traditional, trap bar deadlifts, jumps, med ball slams, things like that. But both of them has such a huge emphasis on building muscle mass, being strong, and being powerful.
Mm-hmm.
They also both obviously take care of their flexibility, right? Bryson's big into the muscle activation stuff, which we know as PTs is basically just glorified PT work. Don't let me go down that rabbit hole.
That's a different episode.
Entirely different episode. But he obviously cares about that as well.
Yeah.
Right? Rory's obviously doing something. You physically can't move like that unless you have amazing hip and trunk rotation.
Exactly.
And we just know that that's impossible.
Especially in the mid-30s. Stuff's not as
limber.
Agile, limber as it once was for him 17 years ago when he came on tour.
Right. And so you look at these guys that, competed at the highest level, multiple tournaments this year. They're, Rory winning earlier this year, Bryson coming in second at the PGA and now winning now. You got to put, if you want to play your best golf, a massive emphasis on your physicality. Mm-hmm. It's turning into an athlete sport. Whether you're a high school kid who wants to play in college, whether you're, just wanting to compete in your club championship or a local tournament, you've got to take care of your body so you can compete at a high level multiple days in a row.
Yeah, and we're seeing that with the kid. I mean, the speed that these kids are swinging is,
right.
It's actually fun. So I played in the state am, so you play with literally little children, 14-year-olds, and they kick your butt. But watching how far 13 and 14 and 15-year-olds are hitting these 16-year-olds, they're still children. They literally don't even have their driver's license yet.
Right.
Right. And how far that they are able to move that golf ball. Mm-hmm. It is literally ratcheting up. I'd say every 3 years, it seems like there's a new norm,
right,
of a new level that goes up. And I had a conversation with, I think it was Greg Rose on one of the past episodes. And we were talking about the discussion around it's the equipment or the technology is the problem. What a lot of people don't realize is the understanding of the technology to teach people how to swing. We understand how to train speed,
right,
so much more in the last 5 years than we did prior to that. Understanding how to use force plates, how many times you have somebody here at P4S, you put them on the force plates and they walk out 7 miles an hour faster because they all of a sudden, I'm supposed to do X with the ground. Or we've had an elite player who lost 5 miles an hour, 6 miles an hour because he thought he was creating speed by spinning more.
Right. But he's not a spin player.
He's not a spin player. So, dude, put your lateral back in and whoop, right back up. There's the 6 miles an hour back that you lost. And here's one more for take home with you for good hard work. Right.
Right.
So I think that's where a lot of I think that's where the ball's getting missed, honestly, a lot. Is you're right. There's lots of discussion around equipment, around the ball, like
the driver.
Nobody's talking about, well, hey, the coaching has gotten so much better.
Mm-hmm.
The understanding of the science and speed and how to create it has gotten so much better.
Right.
And then, it's like the 4-minute mile. And you crack 180, all of a sudden everybody's at 180. And then you crack 190, all of a sudden everyone's at 190. Like, it's going to continue to get faster.
Oh, yeah.
But to your point, it's a skill.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the part that frustrates me is people are like, it's almost like, oh, it's given. They're just so fast. Like, no, like they worked really hard for that because they're seeing a way to arbitrage an advantage.
Right.
And to take advantage of that.
Yeah. That's been the thing on a couple of the recaps. It's like, you guys are just completely discrediting the insane amount of work that these guys put in. And this goes for so many of those people that were at the top of the leaderboard, right? Mm-hmm. Taking care of their bodies, getting really strong, adding some good muscle mass so they can take the brute of, 4 days of tournament golf. Maybe just the hammer curls aren't helping you with your putting as much. But yeah, just taking care of themselves so that they can take that skill and perform at a really, really high level.
I mean, obviously the short games were magical. The quality of the short game was unreal. But I think it was cool for me to see Bryson, who historically was just, he's just this big brute.
Yeah.
And to see everybody kind of be like, oh, well, better check ourselves, better
mm-hmm.
give that guy a little respect for his short game because it was legit.
Yeah. Oh, there was a lot of par saves up and down.
Oh, it's nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that was interesting. I did an episode with David Orr, and we were talking about the Rory miss. I can't remember if we did it on the pod or it might have been after or before. Yeah. And he was talking about how if you watch him, he actually, there was like a little bit of like a hitch where you could tell he was tight and he actually pulled his body a little. It was a pull on 16, right? When he missed it. And it just spoke to me like how nerves and everything else comes into play physically where a move that guy has made so many times.
Billions of times.
Right, exactly. So he pulled it. It was funny talking. He goes, yeah, so he's 16. So he kind of like jerks a little bit. So he pulls it, lips it out left, right? And now and his story, he has the way he putts, he's got he has a blade, I believe.
No, he's got the spider, the
spider mount, yeah. It was David had he's got data on his. He's a little more of a rotational stability player versus Bryson. The way his putter is so freaking heavy, it's more directional stability, right? So basically, what he was saying is his miss historically is to go a little left. He gets nervous, he kind of hitch or whatever, he pulls it left. So then you watch 18, and then physically he then makes the adjustment to try to keep the face open, and then he misses it out low. So it was just an interesting connection of how the mind, the body, the nerves, all of that come together. And we saw it on the biggest stage.
Yeah, huge high pressure situation.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, this is an honor to have you on the pod with me. I hope all of you listening really appreciate. I have no idea the next time you may hear this voice. We may never hear this voice again on this podcast.
I mean, if Bryson wins the British Open, then we might have something entirely different to talk about.
I just need to start rooting for Bryson to win in order to have you on. Got it. All right. Cool. Well, hey, guys, really appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Hopefully that shed some light in terms of the kind of work these guys put in, the importance of the body and the type of things that you need to be thinking about, to play your best golf for a long time to come. And the big thing I want you to take away is as fast as those guys were going, they still have a buffer. They still have more. They are below their safe swing speed. They are as fast as they're swinging. They 100% could go faster. And where all of you are getting hurt is trying to swing as fast as them when you can only swing your safe swing speed is 10 miles an hour slower. You have to have that buffer on top so that you can dial it back and be successful and be safe and perform your best. So as always, thanks for hanging out with us here on the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad. Hopefully we diffused a few myths from you. Hopefully some of you time bombs out there are diffused. But we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks, guys.